Hey, everybody, it's Catherine here from Sacred Heart Alchemy. And I wasn't expecting to be hopping on this soon, actually. As some of you know, I had surgery last week and am planning to take a little bit of time off. But I think my mind doesn't ever take any time off. And so when something kind of inspires me, I just have this inner uh, need almost uh, to get on and share. I will say that probably partly due to my manifester energy in the human design system, where I have lots of ideas and I love to express and communicate. And when something really resonates with me, that sort of teacher mentor part of me really wants to share it. So as you know, or may not, but so I'm in this thing right now um, after having had some surgery and repair done to my right shoulder, and I'm like 9 days in. So this is Saturday, and I had it done a week ago Thursday. And up until yesterday, my movement was quite restricted. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these contraptions, but when you have surgery, I'll stand back up again, and you get in one of these for the first time, they don't want you moving at all. They don't want you moving the arm at all. So they literally have this whole arm piece wrapped to a waistband, a belt thing here that gets in the way of everything, but completely immobilizes that arm, right? Which understandably, they did a lot of repair. There's a lot of sewing going on in there, a lot of things that need to be put back together. And so of course, they want to maintain as much stability and non-movement in that shoulder and arm as possible. But as you can imagine, it's pretty cumbersome and makes it a little bit difficult to do pretty much of anything. So I had my first follow-up appointment yesterday, and I was not expecting it, but at the end of the appointment, the physician assistant, who could probably be my grandson, honestly, they're all so little, they're all so young anymore. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Um, he said, "Hey, good news. We can take, that sort of stabilizer bar piece off." And I was like, "Great. That's going to be awesome, right? I'm going to be able to have a little bit more mobility. I mean, I know I'm not going to be using this arm fully for quite some time. Um, but my first thought was, wow, maybe I can actually sleep a little bit better. And honestly, I've been sleeping pretty well, but let's face it, in the beginning, that's a combination of nerve blocker, uh, oxycontin, and then just kind of over the counter painkillers. So surprisingly, I've been sitting up sleeping pretty well. But I had this idea last night before I went to bed that this was going to be, like a really good night's sleep, because I had been off the painkillers for a day and a half, not even just the over the counter stuff for about a day and a half. And then I'd also have this, tremendous thing removed. And I thought this was going to be awesome. Well, lo and behold, it was not so awesome. Um, I really found myself awake pretty much all night. Could not get comfortable. Couldn't get the pillows right. Just nothing was working. I even at a certain point, took some ibuprofen or something, and just to see. But what was happening is that this arm and shoulder was aching much more than it had been, or that I'd been aware of. And I think some of that was getting in and out of the sling at the doctor's, and then doing some small movement exercises. So it definitely was getting used more yesterday. But also, as I was kind of drifting in and out of sleep this morning, what popped into my mind is this analogy about when we have a block or an obstacle or something that we believe is getting in our way. We often, silly humans that we are, um, jump to the conclusion perhaps that once that obstacle is removed, everything will sort of be okay again, right? And that was sort of what I was applying. Once this big obstacle, this thing that was making it so difficult to move at all, or get comfortable, once that obstacle was removed, then it would be easier for me to sleep. But as I was, in that sort of drifting in between state this morning, what popped into my mind is when you remove the obstacle, then you have to address all of the things that are now present that the obstacle was maybe not allowing you to see. Right. So in this case, obviously, this is a physical, mechanical thing, so I can't use my arm. But the analogy for me was so clear about, when we have obstacles in our lives, whether it's a limiting belief or a sense of unworthiness or some kind of habit of procrastination or people pleasing or finding ourselves in codependent relationships, or perhaps there's an addiction to something, whether it's, alcohol or drugs or social media or spending money or needing to appear a certain way to other people, right? So that you have this sort of persona, right? That you keep when you're around other people. So even if you have the awareness at some point, like this aha moment, or maybe you're even doing some work with a therapist or on your own doing some journaling or some meditation, and you're like, oh wow, right, this is the thing that's been getting in my way. Let me just remove that. Right, and then things should kind of settle in, right, into a different pattern, into a pattern that's perhaps more supportive of my growth process, of my healing my trauma wounds, or the challenges of my childhood. And the truth is, oftentimes that obstacle has been created by your ego mind as a way to keep you safe, right? I mean, we know this now, right? This isn't new information, that if there were situations in your lifetime, particularly your earlier lifetime, or even in your family genealogy, right? Even in your ancestry, if there were patterns of persecution or scarcity, right, or starvation, or women being sort of systematically suppressed or repressed within a particular culture or religion, we grow up with these things and then we adapt, we take on personality traits, ways of being, ways of thinking to keep us safe and operating sort of within the certain guardrails, if you will, of our early life experience. And that's our ego's job, right? We're going to keep you safe. We're going to keep you out of trouble. We're going to adjust things in such a way that you don't attract undue attention to yourself, right? You're going to learn how to be kind of almost self-repressing, perhaps, or you're just not going to speak up much. Whatever that obstacle is, came about as a way for your ego mind to keep you safe and to assure your survival. So just as this thing was helping me to stay within certain guardrails, right, in my body, so that my shoulder and my upper arm wouldn't put undue or unnecessary strain where they had just done all this repair and reattachment, so did those patterns and programs support you in a way to keep you safe and healthy, as healthy as possible in whatever those sets of circumstances were. So, but the work isn't complete when we remove the obstacle. When we remove the obstacle, we just, he's like the bumpers in the bowling lane, right? We just kind of open the guardrails a little more, and now we have more room to operate. But that could feel very unsafe and unsettled. I mean, even for me, for just being in this thing for a week, I was a little concerned that maybe I was going to be moving my arm too much in this sling. And, there were certainly times during the night when I couldn't get comfortable or just couldn't find, that position that was going to let me rest, where I thought about putting this back on again. And so, again, very familiar. When we try to step into new behavior, our ego is going to be like, oh, no, 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 that's not safe, right? You have to stay in this lane. You have to stay on this flight path that we put you on, because that is the thing that's going to keep you safe, out of harm's way, right? Even if it's not a physical death, it's, sort of an ego death, right? So even when we remove the obstacle, then the work begins. We get to see what starts bubbling up to the surface, what fears start coming up, what old belief systems. Oh, well, you don't really deserve that, or you're not worthy of that, or you always screw things up anyway. What do you think is going to happen? Or, people are going to be upset with you if you say or do that thing, or don't say or don't do that thing, right? All of a sudden, all of the things, it's kind of like whack-a-mole. All the things that you were holding down, that certain behaviors were holding down, or certain belief systems, will all of a sudden start to rise to the surface when you remove the guardrails, when you take the obstacle out of the way. So, in my work, in my belief system, in my desire to create a more balanced masculine, feminine, more equitable, more intuitive, more compassionate, more creative, more earth-based, more collaborative, peaceful world, I understand that we've got to drop below the surface there. If we take off the guardrails, if we have a moment of awareness, oh my gosh, I've been carrying this limiting belief of I'm not worthy, right, my whole life. Or, wow, I really get quiet when someone's saying something I disagree with because I'm afraid to speak my truth, right? That's going to bring some kind of rejection or punishment or abandonment to me. So we can have the awareness, the aha moment, but that does not ensure the transformation. The transformation comes then with starting to work with that, noticing when it's coming up in your life, what the circumstances are, what it feels like inside your body, doing sort of more of the somatic and energy psychology work that I believe is absolutely essential to really making those deep changes, so that we can be all of who we came here to be, right? So that we can feel more confident about our gifts, so that we can feel more empowered to speak out, so that we can feel more supported in bringing our unique and very personal magic into the world that needs everybody's unique magic so badly right now. All right, my dears. I think that's it for now. So goodbye, say goodbye. We will see how tonight goes, how we navigate without the guardrails. And I will keep you abreast of my progress. It's actually going really well. And I look forward to sort of being back in the swing of things and seeing y'all again soon. Okay, bye now.